Hello, welcome to SAP SuccessFactors Stories. My name is Sven Ringling. I'm SAP HXM advisor at Orbis People in Germany. Today, we continue our story where we demonstrate how we use SAP SuccessFactors to create a market of opportunities for your employees. And in the second part of this story, we are looking at the line manager journey. As we've already discussed in the first part, we see a problem for organizations when employees look outside first for growth opportunities. So employees tend to find it quite easy to present themselves on LinkedIn or maybe career portals or Facebook or Xing, but feel quite invisible inside their own organizations. And consequently, employers often neglect the potential they have in their own organization, fail to retain their own talent, and have to go outside and hire at high cost. Our vision here is to create a market of opportunities for your employees in SAP SuccessFactors, a market that is as attractive to explore as the one we see here in the screen. As you already know, if you have followed the first part of this story, we have three actors in our story. In the first part, we followed Catherine Adichie, an engineer who is looking for new challenges. In this part, we are looking at Ralph Brunert. He is Catherine's boss, and he is recognizing her potential, but he also sees the risk of loss if she doesn't receive the right opportunities to grow. So he decides to sponsor her career progress. This is today's focus, and in the next part, we will look at Martin Schulz, the head of talent management in our organization. So let's get right into it and start with a live demo for Ralph using his mobile device. So Ralph Brunert is now back from his 3-week holiday, and as usual, on day one, he's just caught in meetings after meetings after meetings. However, in a tea break, he manages to log into his SuccessFactors app on his mobile phone to see what's going on. And one of the first things he realizes, apart from some leave requests he will check on later, is that there is a feedback request. As we know from our earlier session, this is the feedback request Catherine Adichie has sent him to get feedback on her cover as head of department. So she asked the question what went well and also what she could improve on. And Ralph thinks that she could probably delegate more. And then Catherine's final question was about how Ralph feels about her readiness to become head of department. And that's really what gets him thinking. And he thinks it's quite obvious that she is ready and he wants to discuss with her. So this is a feedback based on the request Catherine sent earlier. Ralph can send it off just while waiting in the queue in the tea kitchen. He can tick this off. Now that he sees this question from Catherine, it also gets him thinking about Catherine's career and what this might mean for his team. So he goes into his team view and checks about Catherine's goals just to see how she's performing against her goal plan. And here he can see with one quick glance that she is perfectly on track with her goals. So he goes back to the team view. He's already suspecting that he might have a little bit of a problem here, but he wants to review the impact of loss and risk of loss assessment they've done in their team a few months earlier, which is a 9-box matrix, if you might have seen it, that compares the impact of loss and risk of loss. And as he has suspected, in the top right corner, where we have a high risk as well as high impact of loss, is Catherine's image. So this confirms to him that there's something he needs to think about. So he goes back to his meeting and will look into it next morning at his desk. So next morning, Ralph is at his desk, logs into his SuccessFactors system, where he has all the information he needs about Catherine and to plan for her career progress. So he looks into the succession section of SuccessFactors that shows him the succession situation for his own department. So actually, Catherine has been envisioned as a successor for himself and to be ready in about 1 to 2 years. Ralph is looking at the more detailed talent information, where he also sees what he's already seen in the risk of loss and impact of loss matrix before. But based on the information he had from Catherine's cover for his leave, he knows that she's actually ready for a director role now. So he changes this readiness from within 1 to 2 years to ready now, submits this. This leads to the next problem because he has no intention to leave his current role in the near future. So there needs to be a different role for Catherine to develop into, right? So the first thing he does is he wants to nominate Catherine for a talent pool. And this is the talent pool for executive management. There are currently 18 members in this talent pool, and he decides to submit Catherine for this with an immediate readiness. You could add a few notes here for the talent manager, but he submits it without notes and decides that he will call the talent manager directly. This is now just a submission of a nomination. The talent manager, Martin Schulz, will have to approve this later. He's also looking at some of Catherine's data, so he sees that she's actually already captured her geographic mobility and her language skills, so she would actually be available for leadership positions in other parts of the organization. Obviously, the next issue now is that if Catherine really is developed outside of the department, he needs to look after his own succession, because then this will be very weak with only one potential successor available within a 3 to 5 years time span. But also he needs much more urgently a successor for Catherine, so he can look down the succession chain here. And luckily he sees that Sebastian Eiselt, who is actually reporting to Catherine, would be a potential successor. So obviously that's somebody you would need to talk to as well to assess his current situation. And with this, we finalize our brief live demo for the line manager role, which is the second part of our demo journey. So we have seen Ralph to recognize Catherine's potential based on her feedback request, but also based on the data in the system. And he started to support her in her career progress and also plan for her replacement. In the next section of this journey, we will see Martin Schulz, the head of talent in the organization, to take appropriate actions. So far in the first journey, we have seen how the employees and the drivers see and have a great development experience. And you will also have seen that the employees actually taking the biggest part in this whole demo journey, right? So this shows you that we are not micromanaging employees' careers, but we let them own it, and the line manager is supporting their career progression. And then, as we see in the next session, HR's role is actually to plan and build the roads for this journey. Thank you very much for watching this session, and hopefully you'll join us for part 3 when we see the role of HR in this journey. Just a quick view at what is SAP SuccessFactors adding to this process. We've already seen how it helps employees to support their career progression and how it helps employees to feel visible. And in this section, we have seen how it allows line managers to support employees as well as provide insights and early warnings to line managers. And it's also easy and fun to use, which is important because at the end of the day, experience wins.